welcome. Join me today as we make this love it or hate it resin effect. Now, let's dive in. Hi, Sea Rockers. Starting off today's project, this is currents number 2 is what I'm calling it. We are on a 12 by 12 wood panel board, and I am using the Alex Fast Dry caulking by DAP I found at Walmart. Again, great product and dries fast and works perfect for this. Wait till you see what we're going to do next. It's a little more organic and it involves saran wrap. Now, because this dries rather quickly, you don't want to waste any time. So just lay your saran wrap over the top, cover the parts that you want to cover, and you can either use your hand just to kind of press and squish the caulking out, or you could take something flat and press it on there, like maybe a piece of wood or cardboard, something like that. And here's a fun reveal of how that caulking turned out. And no, I couldn't help myself. I went in and fixed a few things that were bugging me. But I refrained from the most part. See, it's not even. Now we're on to step 2. While that caulking dries, we are going to use some liquid starch. And I just put it in a spray bottle to make it easier to work with. So this is cheesecloth. And I put on this one a lot of starch, and that first one a little bit of starch. Now, these ones here don't have anything on them, and they don't do anything but crumple up. So they're very lightweight and such. What I'm trying to do is give them a little structure and body so they're easier to work with. So I'm just spraying them down, and we're just gonna wait for them to dry. And then we'll see what happens. Our step 3 is waiting for our starch to dry on our cheesecloth. And now we're gonna put a background on our project here. Okay, now step whatever, because I've lost track. Because as you can see, while one thing dries, sometimes you have to go work on the next part and then backtrack to the other. Anyway, take your starched cheesecloth or whatever you're using and just turn it over, because the bottom side is probably still damp, and then continue to let it dry. So check this out. You know, this is kind of the same technique as used those cheesecloth ghosts. You know, you put lights underneath them. That's actually what gave me this idea. And check it out. I just think it's so cool, and you can pull it apart and reshape and reform. There's so many possibilities with this. Our background is dry, and now I'm going to use one of my favorite products, which is gold leafing. And this is the adhesive, and I'm just putting it on. Instead of with a brush, I wanted to cover a little more area and a little more organic and random looking. Anyway, I'm using a sponge. And once that is dried enough that it's sticky, then I'll add the gold foil. And if you're enjoying today's video so far, please splash that like button. I truly appreciate it. As I was painting, I realized I really want these lines of caulk to stand out a little more. So I decided to add kind of like a shadow line on each side to give it just a little more depth and 3D look. Now I'm back to playing with some clay. I really enjoyed creating that last piece, the first one in the series, Currents, number one, and using the clay. And so I decided I need to do this again because it was fun to work with. And now it's time to layer some more paint on here. And yes, I know I'm using the wrong end of the paintbrush. I use the opposite end to mix paint. And well, I just got into the zone. What can I say? So you may be asking yourself, hey Tori, why are you doing resin already? You're not finished painting. Well, that's because our resin is going to be part of the color of our piece. I'm using a few different color mica powders, and we'll add some alcohol ink as well. And now you may have noticed that I am not spreading the resin out completely over the whole thing. So basically what I'm saying is if you look, you can see the spots that I've missed essentially. So what I'm doing is I'm basically breaking the rules. And who says you have to cover the whole thing in resin? And I am trying a new technique, and I really like how it turned out. I think it adds a lot to the piece, and it's very unconventional as well. So that'll be the love it or hate it resin effect that you'll have to tell me in the comments what you think. And I'll show you at the reveal exactly what I'm talking about, because you may not be catching on quite yet. All right, one of the best parts ready to roll here. I'm adding our texture piece to the wet resin. And by the way, we are using art resin today. And I'm just putting this in just enough so that it's going to hold it. I'm not submerging the whole thing, because if I was going to do that, why would I bother of putting the starch on it to make it stiff and formed? So just make a design that you like. And if you've enjoyed the video up till now, I appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel, hit the like and share and all the buttons and things that you need to do to get notified when I put out new content. Our first layer is dry, and now we're going in with the second layer. And again, more color, more mica powder, and some more alcohol ink. Again, I am not completely covering the piece with resin. I'm breaking the rules and going against convention anyway. And you can see how it kind of looks, but it doesn't stay like that because the resin spreads. But let me show you real quick. So essentially, this is the love it or hate it resin effect. You have multiple layers of resin, including the raw underneath. Overall, it gives lots of dimension, the light catches it, and it's just a very interesting look to your resin. So you tell me, could you live with it or live without it? Let me know in the comments. Maybe asking yourself, hey, wasn't that cheesecloth white the last time I saw it? And it was. And I got a little ahead of myself, and I painted some gold and some bronze and basically tried to give it kind of an old world look. But I do want to give a warning right here, and please do not use a torch when you are using something flammable on it like this cheesecloth. Just use your heat gun and some isopropyl alcohol. If you like to recycle things, these are recycled resin drips. And I just added them with some little micro beads to the top of the cheesecloth. And at first glance, it looks like it's coming from the bottom, but it's not. It's decorated from the top. And here's our outdoor reveal where all that sun catches all the sparkles of the different layers of resin and the golds and the mica powders. It's so pretty. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed yourself and perhaps I inspired you to try something new and maybe try something with cheesecloth. I invite you to join the Sea Rocker family, like, share, and subscribe with your salty friends, and it helps me continue to put out great content. And don't forget to follow me on my other social media platforms, as well as my website where you can find art for sale. Thanks for watching, and until next time, go beach or go home.